It's Tuesday. It is your happiest day of the week. That's right, your happiest day of the week, because that can only mean one thing. That riffing guitar, the kids cheering, those video animations means that it's time for Comic Book School Live. The place where everything comes together. I was doing so good right up until then. It almost seemed like I was prepared, didn't it?
It's almost like you weren't reading right off the screen.
I'm not. You told me I have to be authentic, so I stopped being ready buddy and started being authentic buddy. So I no longer read off the prompter.
Oh, well, that's good. Then it was authentic, and that counts for something.
It was authentically wrong. See, I already see. There's no mercy from this crowd.
Good times. Good times.
So, Mike, we've had a string of terrific guests over the last couple of weeks, and I just thought, let's just have a you and me session.
Let's not do that anymore.
Let's just be us again. And when it's us, and a lot of people don't know this, all we do is talk about movies, books, things that we're watching, and whatever. It doesn't. And when we get together, that's all we do. We do the same thing over and over again.
Yes, why shouldn't we? It's fun. It's interesting. It's us.
Mike, you have over the years recommended some terrific movies and books, and I just thought we would bring your superpowers to everybody.
Oh, I like that.
Give everybody a chance to see Mike's superpowers. So tonight's episode is all about recommendations, what we're watching, reading, and listening to. But I think the key thing here, Mike, is we have purposely selected no comics.
Funny that this is comic book school and we're not talking about comics.
Well, I have been told by many a wise comic book creators that you must read more than just comic books. You have to read books.
Mm-hmm.
You have to listen to podcasts. You have to watch television shows, movies, and live life. Right, Mike? Most important thing for a writer is what? To live.
To stay in the house and watch TV.
Live and travel and raise your fisticuffs in bar fights and do the things that famous writers do. Drink whiskey out of boots.
Yeah. That's next on my list of things to do.
Things to do.
Whiskey out of boots.
Things to do, and then get a pedicillin shot. No, but tonight, Mike, we're going to go deep tonight. I'm going to go open up the slide deck and present, share screen, window. By the way, did you like I tried to match our pictures.
I did. I like your picture. It's like,
But I think we need to get real photos because these photos of us are really old.
Yeah, we should go to, next time we're together, we should go to Sears and get one of those family photos taken.
You know what? It wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. You know, I see a lot of different video shows. There you go. Recommendation: Evil Dead Rise. Let your first graders see it. Clint, that's not nice.
Well, you know.
But Rise, it's hopeful, right? They come back. They're coming back.
Maybe it's like an Easter thing, you know, rise from the dead, you know.
So tonight, Mike, we're going to give some recommendation what we're watching, reading, and listening to. I'm going to have you start.
Okay.
I believe yours is the first one. You listen to a podcast on YouTube, which I understand is, oh, hold on. What was this? Alan Mills is calling you? What's that? Is that a reference to Evil Dead?
I don't know.
Could
be.
Maybe Alan Mills is actually calling you, Mike.
My phone was ringing.
So, Mike, what is this show? I've never even heard of it. You've never recommended it. What is this?
These two guys, Rhett and Link, they've been on, you know, YouTube basically since, you know, the early days. And they have a show called The Good Mythical Morning, where they have,
right.
Yeah, they have guests on. They do, you know, silly little contests. They, you know, just have a good time, and they just talk. And Ear Biscuits is just them literally talking for an hour or so, just about everything going on in their life. And what's cool about these guys, what kind of got me into it, is they used to be evangelical Christians, like hardcore.
Wow.
And they, you know, had their own come to Jesus moment, and were like, we aren't going to follow this anymore.
We're not going to come to Jesus anymore.
Yeah. So
that was our come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, I started listening to one of those and how they, their spiritual deconstruction, as they call it, and it just it was really interesting how they went through the whole process of moving away from the whole Christian thing. And then I started just listening to all their other podcasts, and they just chit chat. They talk about anything that they can think of.
How frequently does this come out?
Well, Good Mythical Morning is out, I think, every day. They do something different every day. Yeah, they do it a lot.
How, Mike? We could barely keep this together.
I know. We can't do one a week.
We like are dying at one a week.
Yeah.
And just to give you guys some context, we like make up the show about an hour and a half before the show. I whip up Photoshop. Aaron already gave me templates, and oh wait, Aaron just gave us an explanation. Olin Mills is calling you, and it's a glamour shots type studio for families.
Oh, okay. That's what we need.
We'll go in as family.
Yes, we need to wear those suede suits as well.
I have one. Doesn't fit me, but I certainly have one.
Even funnier.
That would be even funnier. So okay, so how would you characterize this? Is it just a talkie show?
Yeah, they're just talking about themselves and their lives.
But wait, they do a show called
It's Good Mythical Morning. It's usually about a half hour of them talking about what's happening, and then they do something called Good Mythical More, where sometimes they'll have contests. They read fan mail, and they taste different foods. Kind of like all the YouTubers do.
Is this their full-time job or something?
Yeah. They've got like 18 million followers for Good Mythical Morning. They've been on forever. Early days of the internet.
All right. Well, that makes sense.
But they're fun. They're
which one should I check out, though?
What?
So if I'm going to check out one first, which one?
I enjoyed the one We Were Engineers, because they also used to be engineers. They went from
like train engineers or audio engineers?
Not train engineers, but engineers. They made out plans and did stuff and built things and things like that. And then they had a band. They did all this stuff. Yeah. So I would just check out anything that looks interesting to you. The engineers one is fun because that's what they did, and then they decided to do the whole. We're going into YouTube full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna check that out. So I favor regular podcast things that get me away from the screen. I'm going to recommend 3. So from the left is Ridiculous Crime, which is a genre that I love, which is oh, wait, hold on there. Just seem like quitters to me. They're not Christians anymore. They're not engineers anymore. Whatevs. You know what? I think Redheaded Ed nailed it. They are nothing. They're nothing. So good answer. So I've been listening to Ridiculous Crime. It's only been out. It's less than a year, I think. And it's basically inept criminals and ridiculous crimes.
Those are the best ones.
Yeah. And one of the great things about it is it's 99% murder free and it's 100% ridiculous.
How long are they?
I think they last about an hour on average. The 2 people are very funny and they do research. They read books by criminals who've been sent to jail, and then they write their book while in jail, and then they summarize it. And it's terrific. So some are unbelievably funny. And some are but none are not entertaining.
Interesting. I like stupid crime stories are always good.
Stupid criminals are good. Radio Lab has been around for at least 10 years. They are one of the innovators in creating sound effects and experiences and lots of editing. And you will get a story once a week that's intricate and interesting and compelling. And it's great. Like I can listen to it in the car with my kid. And we are just, we love Radio Lab. Have you ever listened to Radio Lab?
Never even heard of Radio Lab.
You've never heard of Radio Lab?
No. But that's not saying much. I don't hear about too many things.
I will make some recommendations. One of my, so on Ridiculous Crime, you've heard of The Love Boat. they did an episode called The Crack Boat, where instead of it was the Love Boat, it was the Crack Boat. And it is as funny as you want it to be. Radio Lab, one of my favorite episodes, I believe, is the War of the Worlds episodes, where they go behind the scenes of how they created panic for the War of the Worlds in New Jersey, no less.
Yes, I remember that story.
That's right. And then Badlands, there's a very despondent looking, creepy looking Marilyn Monroe. This guy has probably the best voice in podcasts other than you, Mike.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously. I think the beard gives you like a resonant sound, as opposed to my Jersey nasally sound. Badlands looks at a series of crimes and or criminals from the seediest angle possible. It usually does some sort of history. I'll give you an example. The first episode I listened to is the one on Lawrence Taylor, the famous linebacker from the New York Giants. Mike, remember him?
I do.
LT. LT was quite the drug man.
Was he on the crack boat?
If he wasn't, nobody was. Apparently he was quite the partier, and Badlands outlines LT's escapades with an S.
Escapades. It's all just about him.
No. It's like the crime of the week.
Okay.
Each of these shows are weekly. So any of these pique your interest that you think you might subscribe?
Ridiculous Crime, definitely.
2 thumbs up.
Radio Labs, I'd have to hear 1 or 2 to see, but it sounds interesting. Mike,
I'm going to put in the show notes and on the website links to my favorite episodes. Can you give me a favorite episode from Ear Biscuits and from Good Morning? What is it? Good Morning.
Good Mythical Morning. There's too many. They do a lot of the food contests, which I always
pick one.
They did one. See if you could make like the other person gag.
Ooh. I'd tap out pretty quick on that.
Vomiting to me is disgusting, and I don't want to watch anything having to do with it, but gagging is hilarious.
Okay, well, you find that episode, and I'll find my 3 select episodes from these shows. I'm going to keep going, Mike, because I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Wow.
Yes, from the left, I listen every week to This Old Marketing. It's a marketing podcast where you learn about what's happening in the world of digital and content marketing. How does that sound to you?
That does not sound interesting at all.
Listen every week. Haven't missed an episode in like 5 years.
It's the greatest podcast ever.
This is what I love. I also listen to the Prof G Pod. Now, Prof G I started listening to them based on a recommendation from This Old Marketing. He is a business professor out of NYU and has started many businesses and written many books. He is irreverent. He's funny. He talks about business, culture. If you're easily offended or don't like the F-bomb, you might not want to listen. But he does 2 or 3 episodes a week on different topics. But if you like business, he presents business in a very entertaining and engaging way.
I like entertaining and engaging, but business.
No, you don't like business?
No, that's work. Things like that.
How do you invest your millions from screenwriting?
I have someone invested for me.
That's probably smarter than what I do. And then I also listen to History Daily, not daily. It's a daily show. It's anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. And then they just unpack a historical event, sometimes, ancient, sometimes modern times, but always interesting and well-researched.
Okay. Interesting. Right. Interesting.
You don't like history?
History is good. It depends on what it is.
Well, that's the thing. Like you can scroll through.
Yeah, you gotta find what you're interested in.
Like something that you're interested in, right?
If they were doing something on like John F. Kennedy getting a flat tire, no, I wouldn't really care about that.
Well, then don't listen to that episode. So I picked the 2 on the right. You picked the 2 on the left. You want to lead off with why you picked these 2?
Well, I just finished reading This Perfect Day, and this is an old book. I read this back in high school.
Oh, wow.
And for some reason, I just thought of it, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pick it up again. It was pretty good from what I remember. And the basic plot is this is a kind of a utopian world, but it's run by a computer. So everyone is they get their weekly treatments, which kind of keeps them drugged up and happy, but there's no crime, there's no poverty, there's nothing. It's just like a sort of a perfect utopian world. But then there are some people that their medicine doesn't really work as well. And they're like, yeah, it's a great world, but we have no freedom. Like, we can't decide if we want to be an accountant or an engineer or anything. The computer tells us what we're going to be. So they decide, let's see what we can do about breaking out of this.
So does it hold up from your memory?
It's not as good as I remember. The ending I thought was a little lackluster, but it was a good read. I did enjoy it on rereading it.
And when the world runs on the computer, is it like Windows 95 and does it
yeah. Dong.
blue screen of death?
See the flying toaster.
All right, so I'll pick one now. I mentioned this in previous episodes. Martha Wells writes a series of books called The Murderbot Diaries. Okay. And they are first-person narrative by what is essentially, what would you call, Mike, when it's part human, part
cyborg?
Right, cyborgs. Yeah, so they're cyborgs and robots and all different types of security robots and luxury robots and pleasure robots. This one is told through the eyes of what is essentially a security robot called the Murderbot. And it's far future, and they go planet hopping, and there's always something that happens. But it's especially appealing, Mike, because the books are only this thick. It's like reading an Encyclopedia Brown mystery.
Like 200 pages, not even.
Yeah, like that. So I love short books because they cut out all the fluffernutter that you don't need.
Who needs all that side things and
character development
details?
Which is probably why all my proposals get rejected. But this is book number 3. I've got book number 4 on the nightstand. I don't generally like serialized storytelling because that the character lives. Mm-hmm. Right at the end of the next book I'm going to talk about. Hold on, I thought cyborgs were people that got implants and artificial limbs. I don't know. Is there a Google? Anybody have Google nearby?
Well, the Terminator is a cyborg. It's like or a cyborg from
Cyborg.
Yeah, cyborg. It's flesh and it's biology and computer artificial intelligence.
Well, I don't know. Androids are squishy like the Alien movies.
He was he an android? Yeah, he was an android.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to say that it was a cyborg, and I recommend this series again. I don't generally like serialized books because that there's no real menace for the lead character because they come back in the series. This was an exception in part because cyborgs can be killed.
Yes, that's true.
And brought back. So highly recommended. Mike, what's your next one?
This one I just started reading, so I can't really say too much about it. Boy and His Dog at the End of the World. I actually got this from the Good Mythical Morning guys. They recommended this book, so I picked it up. I'm only on page 46. So it's another dystopian kind of world where something happened and they haven't explained what, but people just couldn't have kids anymore. Only like 2 people in a million could have children. So essentially the world has died off. There's only a few thousand people left.
Oh, wow.
And it's right now focused on one family who lives on an island in, I think, off of Scotland. And it's really just getting going. So I don't really know too much about it, but so far, first 46 pages were good.
All right. Well, I'll take that. And I got hooked immediately on the first 46 pages of No Exit. This was a thriller about a college student who is driving on a snowy road that's practically impassable and has to go pull into a rest stop where she finds other travelers who have also pulled in. And when she goes to retrieve her bag out of her car, She looks in the window of someone's van and finds a child who's been abducted and is chained inside in the brutal snowy winter. And she has to figure out, of the 6 travelers inside the rest stop, who kidnapped the kid.
Oh, sounds like a gripping thriller full of heart-stopping twists.
I guess you just added it to your Goodreads. It was a surprisingly well-written and exciting book. So I enjoyed the heck out of it. I'm going to take another page because I do read a lot of nonfiction as well. The guys that do the business podcast, This Old Marketing, one of them is Joe Polizzi, and this is the second edition of his book, Epic Content Marketing. I read the first edition, loved it. Read the second edition, loved it even more. If you're into marketing or business topics, you will understand how to market your business or your podcast or whatever you do. It's epic.
All right.
All right.
If I need to do that, I'll pick this one up.
There you go. Chip War, very modern book about the way Intel and Motorola and Texas Instruments developed their chips in the birth of Silicon Valley. It has a couple of chapters that are very interesting that talk about how chips are fabricated and why there are shortages and why China has almost a lock on the entire planet because most chips are made there in Taiwan. And very interesting book. And it is why the CHIPS Act was passed that will try to get manufacturing of microchips here in the United States.
I remember hearing about that.
Very interesting stuff. And then I just love the title of this one and picked it up. It's called Madhouse at the End of the Earth. It was about a group of sailors in the 1800s, late 1800s, who were trying to sail down to Antarctica, failed navigation, were supposed to turn back, thought they could just wait the winter out, and got locked.
A bad idea.
Got locked for 1 year in the ice, and it is it's pretty stunning the things they had to do to survive on no food and how they got out. So very interesting.
They would have had a lot of water, not a lot of food,
but you can't drink it. It's seawater.
Yeah.
So, Mike, we both are big TV watchers. I cannot agree with you with The Mandalorian. Tell me why you put The Mandalorian on there.
The Mandalorian is just fun. I mean, season 1 was great.
Great? It was great.
I thought it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed season 1. Baby Yoda. How could you not like Baby Yoda?
I didn't like Baby Yoda. I would rather watch paint dry. I was
he was so cute. His big eyes, and he's like, hey, it's a little baby. Come on.
No, it was like, let's try to pull heartstrings. It didn't work on me. I didn't interesting, compelling. I was like, I feel like I'm doing homework.
It was just fun. Just goofy fun. You know, he's going around, he's got the little baby, he's got to stop things and help people. It's, you know, it wasn't meant to be anything super.
I read marketing books for fun.
Clearly,
and I found The Mandalorian boring. I don't know what to tell you. I couldn't get into it.
Well, we'll say that your soul is dead.
I like that a stormtrooper punched it.
What? Oh, stormtrooper didn't punch Baby Yoda. Come on, Glenn.
Did he punch the Mandalorian?
The Mandalorian's gotten punched and shot and things like that. Did he? I don't remember him punching Baby Yoda.
Glenn's watching it right now. He's not even he just heard us talking about. Okay, so Picard. You know, I've never watched any Star Trek other than the original, and I didn't like that when it came out. So I've never watched. I went to one Star Trek movie, full stop. That Chris Pine reboot. He punched the bag that Grogu was in.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, his name is Grogu. Come on, redheaded Ed.
Redheaded Ed.
Grogu. Yeah. But Picard, again, season 1 was good. I enjoyed that because it's Picard. Everybody loves Picard. Well, except maybe you, because you didn't watch it.
I don't have anything against the guy. I just never saw it.
But it was good. Enjoyable season. Season 2 was a little shaky, not great. But then season 3, they brought the entire crew from Next Generation back, and they had a huge adventure. It was epic. It was amazing.
Now let me ask you something. If I've never seen a Star Trek, will I understand this?
You will understand it because there is a story, but you won't get all the fun references to all the characters.
Yeah, this is why I every time I go, oh, I'm going to go watch Star Trek, I go to see the movie, and they were like, oh, the Klingons are coming. I'm like, yay!
Yeah, you gotta. If you want to do it, you should watch Next Generation. It's 7 seasons, but you could pretty much skip the whole first season because it was blah. Start on season 2 and then work all the way through.
And it's good.
It is good. Next Generation is really good.
All right. Big Door Prize. Never even heard of it.
Big Door Prize is new from Apple TV. It's I've only watched 2 episodes. So far, it's good. It's interesting. It's this that box you see behind Chris O'Dowd in the picture. It's supposed to tell you your life's purpose. So it just kind of mysteriously appears in this store. It gets delivered, and then people start using it, and they get these little blue cards that say, "This is your life's purpose."
Wow.
And he is a teacher, and he doesn't want to use it at first, but then he decides he's going to give it a try, and he gets his purpose in life, and he's not happy with it. So we'll have to see what happens. But so far, it was intriguing. It was enough to keep me going.
Did he find his purpose in life like Nathan Johnson in The Jerk with Steve Martin?
Oh, yes.
Different purpose.
That was a different purpose.
I have seen the ads for Shrinking. There's no shortage of ads on Apple TV for this show. I just couldn't find myself the energy to watch it.
It's fun. It's another cute little show. Harrison Ford is fantastic. It's changed a little from what I think they pitched it as, because what they pitched it as, at least in the first couple episodes, is Jason Segel is a shrink, and he really wants to help his clients, but you know how shrinks have to kind of be middle of the road and they can't tell you what to do and all this. He decides, I'm just going to tell them what I want to tell them. And in the first couple episodes, he does tell them that, and it does help them.
Huh.
Then they've kind of shifted over to now just about his family and their relationships. And it's kind of like, it's still fun, but it's not exactly what I expected. But I would.
Yeah, sometimes they have a great idea in a couple of episodes, and then they lose the plot.
Yeah, it's still a fun show, and they have some really good characters. Like I said, Harrison Ford is great, and the rest of the cast is really good too.
All right, so we're going to move on, and I asked you if you had any YouTube ones, and I'm going to go first. I'm sure everybody subscribes, likes, and comments on the Comic Book School podcast. That's the only thing that I watch on YouTube, Mike. That's never heard of it. No, I know you don't subscribe to it. What if the blue card says janitor? Then you'd be a janitor.
And you're a janitor. That's your life's purpose.
That's your life's purpose. What is this show here, Mike? You were describing it to me.
I was describing it to you, and you already hated it.
I hate it already.
It's this guy who goes around and finds, and I don't know recently if he actually works for the city, but at the beginning, he was just a guy who went around and found streets clogged, the drains clogged, and making floods on these streets. And he would take out his little rake and go and unclog the drains, and just watching the water suddenly swirl down it's very interesting and very soothing.
I want a penicillin shot just hearing you describe that.
It's really great. You should at least watch one.
It's just so
it's a lot of fun. It's mindless entertainment.
I got the cooties just thinking about what you just told me, and I don't know if it's mindless for me. All right. I'm watching on Apple TV Ted Lasso, one of the great Apple TV shows, a real breakout show. I heard all the hype, and it holds up.
See, I do watch Ted Lasso. I watched the first 2 seasons. Season 1 was spectacular. Season 2 wasn't great for me.
See, we're on season 3, and I found myself getting distracted. So yeah, 2 had a lot of it, but one was really the my favorite. But I'm sticking with it. I'm also on the final season of Barry.
I've only seen one season of that.
It gets, it just gets crazier and crazier. It just gets, and so it's almost over. This is the final season. Tremendous acting, tremendous writing. If you like absurdist, surrealist, mixed with your murder and mayhem, this is the show for you. Like if you liked Mr. Robot, you'll like this show.
Mr. Robot was good.
Yeah.
Interesting. Crazy.
The spin-off show from Breaking Bad, which people had to twist my arm to even turn this on. And I'm on the final season. It's an amazing accomplishment in television making. Breaking Bad being one of the greatest shows ever on television. This show doesn't reach those levels, but is pretty darn good.
I've seen most of Better Call Saul. I think I've got one season left that I have to.
Yeah, so the final season just dropped on Netflix, so I'm watching it furiously right now. And of course, I recommended last week Cocaine Bear. If the title makes you smile, you will love the movie.
I'm looking forward to watching.
Elizabeth Banks directed it.
Yep, and it's about a bear on cocaine.
It certainly is. All right, Mike, that brings us to trivia time, the part of the show where this is why people take their money out and pay for Comic Book School Live.
Yes,
what do you have for us this week?
This week is about a planet dubbed 55 Cancri E. It's a super hot Earth. And what they thought about it at the beginning was that it was essentially made of diamonds. It was a diamond planet.
Come on.
Yeah, a diamond planet. They're a little sketchy on exactly what it is now, but they still think it's very diamond-y. And I thought this was super interesting because if you take the idea of a diamond planet and put it into a heist space movie, imagine Ocean's 11 trying to rob and trying to steal an entire planet. Or if you want to go the disaster route, you could have that this diamond planet got knocked out of its orbit and is now headed straight to Earth. How do you stop a diamond planet?
I don't think you do.
You can't.
I think you get off the Earth like
all your
Elon
nukes.
Musk.
You're not going to do anything to a diamond planet.
Wow. I like the heist.
The heist is a good one. I also thought you could do a nice little fun romantic love story where somebody goes to the planet like, I'm going to, harvest my own diamond and give it to my significant other, but along the way they could get caught up in some crime boss family or some crazy adventure that takes them away from the planet. And all they want to do is get a diamond for their significant other.
Ah, I like that. And Redheaded Ed said they already did that. It's called Rainbow Bright and the Star Stealer, the 80s Good Times.
Yeah, did they?
I don't know. I was a pretty huge Rainbow Bright fan, except when she turned to crack and then started hooking. I didn't.
Yeah, and then she went on the cocaine cruise.
The Cocaine Bear. And then Glenn says, I was going to say the Eighth Expanse book has a super creepy diamond planet.
Yes.
What's the Eighth Expanse?
The eighth season of the Expanse, or no, the eighth book. The Expanse is a whole sci-fi series.
Have you read any of it?
I haven't read any. I watched the first season on TV and I did not like it.
So I'm not good with outer space, Mike. I find that like outer space confounds me because it's so spacey. There's nothing to latch onto. So
that's why you go to planets.
Yeah. And the Murderbot books, go to different planets. And hold on, that sounds like an episode of show that Mike may have worked on. Well, I think I wish I Rainbow Bright and the methadone clinic is probably a laugh riot.
That would definitely be in Robot Chicken. Yes,
it's Andor for grown-ups. Okay,
haven't seen Andor. I hear it's good.
But I will tell you, this is a great prompt, Mike. Another great discovery. Just the idea of a diamond planet. I would think that even on Earth, there would be guys that think they could hatch a plan.
Oh yes. I would watch that movie. Maybe I'll write that movie. I'm gonna steal my own idea.
You are gonna steal your own idea. So, Mike, I think this brings us to the end of the show. Let's see if you hear the music.
I do.
All right, that's our play out music. So everybody should like, comment, and subscribe. We love you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday with more great recommendations, ideas, and educational stuff for comic book readers. See you later, everybody.
Yay!